Hi, cacao lovers. Welcome to another episode of Cacao Culture. I'm your host, Daisy, and today I have Max, the seasoned expert on all cacao and chocolate related matters, and Bill Guyton, the executive director for the FCIA. Hi, Bill. How are you doing?
Wonderful. And how are you doing today?
We're good, good. Thanks. The purpose of today's episode is to speak on basically how we coped with all of these challenges that the 2020 brought for the cacao and the chocolate industry. And the word that everyone has in their minds this year, particularly resilience.
Yeah, very fashionable word. But I would like you, Bill, to define exactly what does this mean. Everybody, even taxi drivers, are talking about resilience right now. What is resilience for our
Well,
market in our environment? What does it mean, and what does
yes,
it imply? Not only what does it mean.
right. Well, I think, Max, if I were to think about what it really means, I would characterize it as being adaptive, seeing an obstacle in your way, and then being able to figure out a way not only to address that, but actually maybe even to surpass the obstacle that's in front of you.
Yeah, I like that definition very much because it implies something not just reactive but actually active in our business. Not only adapt but improve. So basically, if I had to find a definition, I would say we are compelled to grow. We cannot stay still and cannot look backwards.
Well said.
I think another aspect that this entire worldwide crisis brought to light was that in cacao's case, we noticed, for example, that maybe we were focusing on some things that were not necessarily as important as others that came up when this entire thing started. And personally, and on behalf of the team, of course, we have to thank the FCIA so much for all of your work throughout this pandemic, because the work that the FCIA has done, the entire team, along with all of the members, has been paramount to not just being resilient, but moving ahead, improving, like Max says, and coming up with so many new ways to stay together, even though we are all apart.
Well, I appreciate that comment, Daisy. And when I think back to March of this year, when the pandemic really first became a major issue in the United States, the board of directors of the Fine Chocolate Industry Association got together and decided we needed to change the way things operated within our industry. And traditionally, we had really focused on trade shows and conferences and festivals in person. And
Mhm.
obviously, we knew we had to adapt and change if we wanted to become resilient. And we made a strategic decision really to move much more towards online educational webinars that would focus on issues related to fine chocolate companies, whether that be production issues or small business loans to help companies address some of their financial needs in the short run. Looking at this one side of chocolate as well, looking at demonstrations and um, different ways that chocolate can be used. So I think it provided a level of creativity that we didn't have before,
Exactly.
and and it
We
allowed.
were not aware of, and we were not in the immediate need of, but it was inside us, wasn't it?
Yes, Max, and the other wonderful outcome of all of this is that a lot of our smaller companies that are uh, scattered all over the United States and abroad, a lot of them weren't able to attend a lot of these in-person meetings anyway. So this
Mhm.
webinar platform allowed us to have much stronger and closer interactions with these company members and provide educational material back to them that they weren't receiving before.
Yeah, and I have to say that not even, well, more than that, for Cacao, that we're usually at most of these events, it also gave us an opportunity to learn more about our fellow chocolate makers, because we've been, for example, in certain trade shows. I've been um, a victim of this. We've been in some trade shows, and because we have to be at our booths and, speaking to everyone and, selling chocolates and just commanding that booth, we're not able to attend the other events that are going on at the same time, the talks, the webinars,
Exactly.
the seminars, sorry, the different panels that are so interesting, the demonstrations. It was always a challenge because we have to stay at our booths, helping out people, giving them
Yeah.
information about the company. And now I've been able to see everything and meet everyone virtually throughout all of these virtual tours, meetings, webinars, demonstrations.
Yeah. We were, in a way, slaves of our own logistics. Whereas now we are all focused on our business and our partners.
Well, Max and Daisy, one of the webinars that was the most popular that we've done so far is the one with you all. You prepared a virtual tour of your
Yeah.
facilities in the Dominican Republic, and we had so many people in the audience that were so interested in learning about every stage of your factory, and you opened that up and showed a video of and explained each stage along the way. I thought it
Mm-hmm.
was fascinating, and it was a very popular webinar for us.
Yes, in spite of all the difficulties. But back then we were in the infancy of
I mean, we
of
also
our
had
technical
Hector
training.
um, helping us out when we had those eruptions, which, I mean, how many times
But it
would
made
we
it
have
very
Hector in
authentic.
a trade show?
Uh-huh.
That would have never happened under regular circumstances.
Circumstances, right? And I have a question for you, Bill. Can you think of a case of a company or a situation that can serve as a paradigm to explain to our listeners what resilience has been in a concrete manner?
Well, I don't want to single out any particular company, but what I can say that, from my interactions with the 300 plus companies and professionals that are members of the Fine Chocolate Industry Association, a lot of them have taken this opportunity to really adapt to the new environment. And one of the ways that we've seen adaptation is really much more of a move to online sales, and to upgrade websites, et cetera, so that chocolate companies can have a more direct relationship with consumers. And I love that trend. I'm hoping that that will continue and expand in 2021 and beyond.
That was going to be my second question. Do you think what is going to stay in the COVID situation, or what is going to go away, in your opinion?
Well, I hope that online sales continues to be, to be a strong force, and we look at new ways that we can reach consumers, not only with offering new products online, but also using that platform to help educate consumers about the supply chain. And cocoa is so fascinating, as you both know, and most consumers in North America and even in Europe probably have limited knowledge about the tree crop and the farmers that grow it. And it's a wonderful story to tell. And in particularly for fine chocolate, it's a very positive story.
Yes. But then, perhaps to deepen my question, can we survive? Can we go on without coming back to stretching hands, to hugging and seeing each other physically? Do you really think that this situation is going to bring about a material change in the way we go forward in our business relationships?
Well, for one thing, I'm so optimistic about 2021 with the vaccines on the way. I think it's going to help us come back to more of a normal environment where I, I'm hoping we will have more face-to-face meetings, and I think that's
Hmm.
our plan. I think there'll be probably more of a hybrid model where we
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
will have conferences, because nothing replaces face-to-face meetings. But also, we're going to continue to use the online platform of webinars to reach people in different areas on a more continual basis, so that it's not just twice a year that we all get together, that in between we can connect on a regular basis through webinars.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is really a testament to human interaction. I mean, we did not let these barriers stop us in any way, shape, or form. And this is one of maybe the few industries or sectors that has not only improved and adapted to all of these crazy conditions, protocols, and health issues, but markets have grown, sales have increased, and the work continues no matter what. And in our case for Kahkow, it has been exactly so. We had to build up an online store that we didn't really have. We just had a showcase of products, but the entire idea and the concept behind our website was to pull people into the store so that we could offer a personal experience with the video walls, with the factory on site, with the products, with tastings. And we had to translate that in a very short amount of time into online digital webinars through these Zoom calls and through YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, and
It really
we've
allowed us to reach out
yeah we've reached out
to our customers, to our friends, and to build
into
a
new customers.
relationship that was, I would say, I don't know if I can define it as pre-competitive or post-competitive, but we found each other in a sort of brotherhood against all this stuff, and it worked out. It's been fantastic, really.
Well, and that's one of the things I love about this industry too. It's a small industry. The fine chocolate segment of the chocolate
Hmm.
industry is about the top 5 to 10%. But what's so unique, I think, is that you have companies that really want to help each other out, and
Yes.
I have seen that firsthand over and over again, and especially during the pandemic, where we have companies providing information to other companies about import regulations, on how to acquire cocoa beans, or new techniques on tempering, etc. I
Hmm.
just think it's wonderful.
Yes. Well, just another question. Since you have all the figures, how small are we? How small is the Fine Chocolate Industry Association? How
Um,
much are we worth in terms of bean equivalent per year?
yeah, I don't have the bean equivalent figure right in on top of my head, Max, but I would say that we represent the top 5 to 10% of the market, and
5%,
but between
including the bigger ones such as Gitad, for example.
correct, correct, 5 to 10%. And we really look at three different segments of of the chocolate industry. There's the mass market, there is the premium market, and then there's the fine chocolate, which is the top tier. So
Mhm.
premium segment would be companies like Lindt, um, or Ghirardelli, or others that are larger in size, but use more kind of a mass market approach, versus the fine chocolate segment, which is really much more artisanal, and really focused on high cocoa content, etc.
And how do you see this interaction between smaller guys, small chocolate makers, uh, persons who are really coming up from a sort of domestic kitchen and scaling up to making chocolate, interacting with the Lindt and the Ghirardelli? How do you keep these people together? And do we really always have convergent interests, or they might arise some conflicts sooner or later?
I think there's a lot of diversity within our membership at the Fine Chocolate Industry Association. We have a lot of startup companies, and they have different challenges than more established companies, the ones that have been in operation for many years, such as yourselves. So we have to tailor our our activities to meet those different needs. We have certain programs that really look specifically to help startups, and we have other programs for more established companies like yourselves to help with promotions and to support the value chain. So I think there's room in fine chocolate for all. but we just want to make sure that it's not a one-size-all model for the types of activities and support they need.
So you have suits of different sizes for everyone, not one size
Absolutely.
fits all. Okay, I
Yeah.
see.
I also wanted to comment a little bit about the Make Mine Fine platform. Whose idea was it? I mean, when I first saw this, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Somebody had to think of this before. How come we never thought of this?
Well, we have a wonderful board of directors at FCIA, and most of the ideas come actually from the membership or the board themselves. And to tell you the truth, I can't even remember how that developed. I think it
Whose
was
idea it was?
I think it was in a board discussion where the companies suggested maybe we look at a platform that would help provide our members a way to more directly reach consumers. So we developed MakeMineFine.com, and we have expanded on it since then, and it's been a lot of fun. We have almost 100 companies listed in the marketplace right now on the website, and we've expanded it also to include descriptions about cocoa producing countries, including the Dominican Republic. And
Wow.
Yeah.
I know that Kahkow is listed on there and helped in the development of that page. So I appreciate that. And we're continually adding content to Make Mine Fine. And we have a new section that was just added to talk about demonstrations and experiences. And I think that will be very popular with consumers, as well as another section on equipment
Mhm.
sales that consumers can use if they want to make chocolate in their own homes.
Well, I signed up Max for tours on that new platform. He doesn't know. He just found out right now.
Well,
Very good. Very good.
I'm not complaining.
But when I first saw it, I mean, I still use it. It's like my phone book. You remember back in the days when we had like those big phone books? It's like my phone book. When I'm interested in learning if there's new bean to bar chocolate makers, or if there's someone we haven't spoken to in a while, that's my guide to, well, all of our guides to seeing what's new, who's new, what are people coming up with, creations, and all of these things. And the addition of this other platform for the demonstrations is ultimately, it continues to improve the experience, because in our case, I added the live tours as something that we can do. We can, coordinate and schedule live tours, not just of the farms and the processing center, but even meetings with Max, with Elvi, the production manager, with Alberto, our quality control manager. And this is the best way to reach out to people. It's not just we are the best, it's this is everyone behind these amazing products. This is how we do things. This is why quality is such a key factor in our company.
Yes. Bill, just a few seconds or minutes, if you will, to comment on your previous life on the WCF. Tell me about your experience at WCF, and what was the major change between that experience and your new life as the head of the Fine Chocolate Industry Association. What did you bring from that experience, and what has changed?
Tough questions.
No,
That's a
no.
tough question. You didn't tell me you're going to ask that before, but I'm happy you did. Um, Max, back in late 1990s, I was working in the grains industry on looking at new markets for U.S. corn, barley, and sorghum in feed grains. And there's a connect between some of the feed grain traders and suppliers with cocoa. And I had some very good discussions with some of the larger branded companies at the time, and they realized that they really didn't have a good grasp on their supply chain. They wanted to develop an organization that was specifically focused on farmer livelihoods and how to improve environmental, social, and economic conditions. So I worked with them to form the World Cocoa Foundation. And that was back in 2000. And I had a 15-year journey with those companies, the larger companies that mostly were sourcing from West Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm proud of what was accomplished and what continues to be accomplished under that platform, and bringing, you know, serious competitors together to look at how they can provide complementary trainings and support to farmers in different geographies. So I left there in 2015, and I thought my days probably with cocoa were gone. and and then I was approached by one of the company members at FCIA asking if I would be interested really to look at a new kind of model, and a new type of industry that was different from the mass market. And when I met with some of the companies, I just immediately was intrigued by what Fine Chocolate was doing, and how creative the companies are, and how passionate they are about the products that they make. And my my opinion has not changed on that. I've been with FCIA now for 3 years, and um, it's just been a wonderful journey. I'm learning new things along the way, whereas with WCF, it was mostly focused on supply side.
Hmm.
Within FCIA, we look at everything. We look at uh, the small businesses themselves and how they expand. We look at how they make the wonderful products that they do, and all the way to the consumer. So it's a wonderful group of companies, and
Hmm.
I'm honored to be.
It's a richer salad, more ingredients, and more
Yes,
inclusive.
yes.
I see more flavors. Yes, if there is one criticism, we can move to the WCF. And it's too African. It's West Africa, West Africa, West Africa, and sometimes we have a hard time having our voices heard or being just considered.
You're right, and I think that those two countries in West Africa, Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, dominate the market, and the farmers there work hard and they produce good cocoa. Uh, but I think also, within FCIA, we've learned that there's a whole range of other countries, not only in Latin America and Asia, but also in Africa, that produce wonderful cacao as well, mainly Madagascar,
Oh yes.
Tanzania, or the Democratic Republic of the Congo.
Yeah, and a whole set of issues and challenges that all of those other countries face. So,
That's
Absolutely.
why, to tell you very frankly, sometimes we feel more at ease and more represented by the FCAA than in the WCF. And that's one of the criticism I have told Rick Scobie several times. They have very good people, but apparently they have their hands tied, and they're too become too big, a little bit too sclerotic, to change it to become more inclusive.
Well, I think within FCIA, one of the important things for us to realize too is that we're small, and we need to work with other trade associations, other industry groups, maybe even outside of cocoa. And within the chocolate industry, we have formed alliances with other smaller trade associations that also look at confectionery. And outside of the industry, we also are partnering with other supply chains, such as spices, that have some commonalities with what we do, and the coffee industry as well.
how have the bean to bar chocolate makers taken to the virtual trade shows? We had the Dallas Chocolate Festival that was virtual, and then there's a new event that will be virtual in January.
It's a good question, and I think that we're learning as we go along, and we're improving. We're
Mhm.
becoming more resilient. In January, I'm really excited because FCIA has partnered with the Specialty Food Association on a web-based marketplace called Specialty Food Live,
Mhm.
and we are going to have our own virtual pavilion, an FCIA pavilion within that show over several days, that really helps bring our company members closer to buyers. It's a wonderful opportunity for small businesses or even large ones to make those direct connections. So we're excited about that, and fingers crossed, we hope to have an in-person meeting later in 2021.
Hopefully.
So the key word for 2020 was resilience, and probably it will stay the same for 2021. But you and I have been in the cocoa business for a while, so we have heard many of these slogan or these keywords. I think if we go back to the early 2000s, it was organic, and then after organic, we had the traceability. After traceability, we have
Sustainability.
sustainability. Uh, then we also had quality, general. What's going to be the next big keyword?
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
excellent. I I think probably, what I would like to see more is integration within the supply chain, and a lot of our companies are already
You
doing
complained about my question and you gave a fantastic answer. Integration.
that. Well, and
Yeah.
it's what Cacao is already doing. I mean,
Yeah.
you're purchasing the beans directly, and you're making finished product, and you know where
Mhm.
those beans come from. You know the farmers that grow those beans, and that's the wonderful movement, of being the bar, is that those companies are very close to the
To the
supply.
farm and to the supply, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting year next year. We'll see how this crisis will continue and how we can continue to be resilient. What will the new year bring? What will the chocolate makers come up with?
And
uh, it's exciting to know what will happen, to think about what will happen.
that's a great point, Daisy. And one of the things that I'm excited about as well is, I mentioned the strong leadership within FCIA at the board level. Our new board starts in January, and they have a wonderful foundation to build off of, from the current board. But the new board will be 50% women, and we have much more diversity as well, from companies one based in Tanzania,
Mm.
another one
Wow.
in Latin America. So we're going to get a lot more, I think, diverse opinions and views, and that always brings positive changes as well.
Yes, very good.
Well, we
Way
really
to
want
go.
to thank you again on behalf of the Cacao and the Rizek team for the incredible work that FCIA is doing and continues and will continue. Of course, we're sure of that. Um, just for the cacao lovers and the FCIA lovers, we have created a
Coupon code.
coupon code for you guys to enter when you go to our online store. It's
How
cacao.com.
much is the discount?
We are offering a discount for 10%
No, not
on.
enough.
Not
It's too
enough.
stingy. 10% is nothing. You should
Okay.
do something better.
Well, it's good that you brought it up because I
It's your
would I would
boss
have to
telling you
ask
that.
you. So
You don't have to.
okay, how much should we do for FCIA?
15.
Okay, we'll
We
offer
like that. We like
a 15% discount to all
Beans and chocolate.
on
The
beans
entire
and
range,
chocolate
please.
on the
Uh,
entire range.
be generous.
Yes, we are very generous always. The coupon code will be FCIA. Be sure to check it out on the website. Chocolate makers and chocolate lovers, we don't just love to ask questions, we love getting them too. So if you have any project or inquiries that you want to discuss with us, feel free to email us at info@cacao.com. Anything goes, right? No
Exactly.
project is too small. Be sure to follow the FCIA. Their IG handle is Fine Chocolate Industry Association, right, Bill?
Correct.
Yeah. And the Make Mine Fine platform. Be sure to check that out as well at Make Mine Fine. Bill, if there's anything else you would like
Any
to
closing
add.
statement?
Well, I just would like to turn it back to you
Can be a
because
blessing as well, if you
I,
want.
I, I
In
just
the name of the Father and the rest, whatever you have
I,
in your mind.
well, Max and Daisy, I just wanted to express, on behalf of the trade association, thanks to Cacao for all that you're doing, and you all have been champions on uh, innovations in chocolate, and you have helped work with companies of all sizes. When we talk about interactions with the positive interactions between different companies, I mean, I think of Cacao as being at the top of that list. You're very helpful to your fellow colleagues, and we appreciate
Mhm.
that and all of the support that you provide to the industry.
And thank you for providing the platform to do so.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it was great talking to you, Bill, as always. Great pleasure.
Thank you
Thank
both.
you
And the
for
learning experience.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, Bill. And just for the cacao lovers, I'll do my sign off. Cacao is a one stop shop for chocolate makers and chocolate lovers in quest of the finest ingredients for their creations. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye, Bill. Thank you so much.